Our goal is simple: to help you achieve the dream and vision you first had when you thought about starting a business. We're here to make growing your business less complicated. There are building blocks to build a sustainable business. We promise to seek them out and address them all. The Better Your Business Show starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the Better Your Business Show. Here we discuss your most important business challenges and provide you with practical solutions to help you better your business.
Absolutely. So if you're an entrepreneur, mamapreneur, papapreneur.
I think he was going to say papapreneur, solopreneur, but he looks frozen for a moment.
Yep.
We got him on freeze frame. What he's going to say is when you started your business, you didn't have a roadmap or instruction manual to guide you through your business. And that's what the show's about. It's about giving you applicable information, actionable data that you can take and walk away with and improve your business so that you can grow and better your business.
That's right. So whether you're watching us live or joining the replay, please make sure you go to pillar5.com and then you can join us in our studio where we can address your comments and concerns throughout the show.
Absolutely. And we have a new hostess joining us on the show. Woo-hoo. Welcome, Shannon Mavis. Natalie, go ahead and bring her in for us.
All right. Welcome, Shanna. Oh, there's Tehran. He's back. Welcome.
Hey.
You had the best frozen expression, Tehran.
Oh, wow.
But yes, so we're excited to bring Shannon Mavis as one of the hosts on the show. She has an extensive background in business, which I love because she's really kind of grown up and came from the inside out. Now she's spending her time working with startups and entrepreneurs and helping them to just be in the truth and transparency of where they are in business and where they want to go. So we're thrilled to have you here as part of the team and your insight. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Super excited to be here. When we were talking before the show, one of the things that you asked me was why I was interested in Pillar 5 and I Do Systems. And a lot of it came from hearing the stories of Carlton and Keisha, the chief operations officer. And it was just understanding their journey, why they were into it is what sold me on it. The idea that business owners are needing help, that's a passion of mine. I have the, just extreme pleasure of working with a small group of entrepreneurs every other week. We meet and understanding some of the challenges and knowing that there's a solution out there. And this is something that we're bringing to the market, and just being able to be a part of that journey has been an amazing thing. It's taught me so many things, but it just gives me, an opportunity to, help people along, to make sure that they're not struggling like other people have struggled, to make sure that they know that there are resources out there. So anything that I can do that lends to that is something I want to be a part of.
Awesome. Well, we're so excited to have you here. And I love it because it's so true as we're shifting the paradigm of entrepreneurship, right? It's just such a blessing to be part of that. So excited about today's topic as we're going over life cycle stages and how they impact the success of your business.
Really interesting topic right there.
Yes. But the creator, I don't know, do we say the creators of the life cycle stages? I know that when we look at life cycle stages, or if I look at what Google says life cycle stages are, there's lots of information on what they are. So can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. I'll jump in right there. Life cycle stages was actually created by an economist back in 1856 when he wrote the 8th edition of Principles of Economics. And I'm going to just kind of quiz those who are watching. Rather than me tell you who that author of the 8th edition of the Principles of Economics, I'm going to ask you to go find out and tell me who that is. But he was the first person to talk about life cycle stages in business, and he was talking about it from the stent of trees growing in the forest and the different stages. And some trees are tall, some stages the trees are really small, and how they grow and they mature and they support one another through the growth and development of the forest. And so that's where the story or the ideology of life cycle stages for business began. And what we learned, as now is leading to, if you go to Google and you look up life cycle stages, you'll see that there's life cycle stages there's 5 life cycle stages, 7 life cycle stages, 9 life cycle stages. There's decline and death in one of the life cycle stages. Like, they're all over the place. Yeah. But what we learned over the time is that most of those are just theory. There's no practical application to those life cycle stages. So I wouldn't say we're the creators of the life cycle stages, but we have reverse engineered life cycle stages to make them actionable. Since that hasn't been done since the creation of them in 1856, I don't know. I Do Systems might claim the new life cycle stages as their own.
1856. Wow. That's pretty impressive to me that they were talking about that in 1856, actually. So, hey.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There are so many things about that story, though. The importance of, you said that they grew together. And the importance of understanding that you're going to need someone or something along the way to help you, and that you're designed to be a part of something bigger. The idea that you have, will feed into someone else's idea. And how do we help each other, make those connections and grow like we're supposed to?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Tehran, what's your thoughts on life cycle stages?
Well, listen, the way I look at life cycle, when I think of life cycle stages or the practicality of it, I think of an older person using children's Tylenol or a baby being given Bengay. There's a certain stage that requires certain attention. And just not knowing which stage you're in can adversely affect the action steps that are being taken, or as far as the results that you get from the action steps that are being taken. So I just think it's just like a roadmap, just like a GPS. I think it's not just a theory; it's mandatory to not only understand what they are, but to make sure you function inside the right life cycle stage. It just helps. None of the stuff that becomes arduous or difficult is difficult once you can see clearer. So if you just identify where you're at, your next move will be a lot more strategic. Can be more strategic than if you're just doing stuff in order to be busy, or in order to chase the dollar, or in order to get a certain amount of likes, or all this other activity stuff, versus what should your company, not you, not your bank account, not your status, what should your company be doing at this stage that it's in right now, and looking at it objectively. Kind of my thoughts on life cycle stages. But I agree with Arthur's. Did you freeze? Oh, no. Yeah, I agree with the book, I'm sorry, that was written 1857. The fact that it's just like growing a tree. And I was having a discussion with my son about life cycle stages, weirdly enough, and in explaining it to him so he could say it back to me, I used the example of a seed. When you put a seed in the ground, there's a lot of activity that happens for a long time before it breaks ground. Once it finally breaks ground, it has started. And then it starts to grow. And then as it grows, it can expand. As it expands, it can drop seeds to start the process over again. So it matures at that point. So it's just a physical way to see a process that actually already exists, and then just drawing a picture. Like, well, now look at your business. Can't drop seeds as a seed. You don't want to wait. You don't want to function as if you're under the ground trying to break ground when you're actually on a branch, supposed to create the next thing. So all of these kind of ways of looking at it helps to see the issue people can be in if they don't look at that, I think. I'm gonna stop rambling now because I'll keep going.
No, I love that analogy because it gives us a visual too. And I know that, when I took my assessment for life cycle stages, and with as long as I've been in business, which has been 18 years now, I was really surprised with where I was at. So can we elaborate on that a little bit where we talk about length of time in business, cash flow? That stuff doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to sustainability in your business and the stages.
Absolutely. And since the 10-minute mark has ran, I'm going to go ahead and give the answer. His name is Alfred Marshall. The actual book was written in 1890. or published in 1890. It's the 8th edition. And he's an economist, and he's a genius, brilliant in his days. The presidents and all the nations relied on his forecast and understanding of the economy in order to build out their nations and determine whether or not they were going to war. And life cycle stages were one of the topics that he brought up. It is from that beginning in which we reverse engineered life cycle stages, because if you think about a business in the forest, it's going to get natural rain. It's in a natural habitat. It's going to grow like a weed. It doesn't need any help. But when you're building a business, you can't just throw it in the forest and allow it to just do whatever it does. You have to nourish it. So there's different stages of that business. And let's kind of just look at some of that for just a moment. I'm going to just throw this on the screen to kind of give everyone a better understanding. When you look at the 5 life cycle stages of a business, which are business, startup, growth, expansion, and maturity. And I know there's some experts out there that may argue with that, but I embrace that argument. So if you disagree with that, feel free to join us on the show and tell us why you disagree with that. But the seed stage and startup stage and growth stage and expansion stage and maturity stage have specific actions that need to happen in order for the business to grow. Tehran made the point. If you're an adult with a migraine headache, you're not going to take baby aspirin. If you do, you're going to have to take a whole lot of it, right? And God forbid, if you have a child, you're not going to give them 2 Tylenol 3s, right? Because they're crying because they may possibly have a headache. The medicine doesn't match. So it's the same thing when a business owner starts their business and the first thing they're trying to do is get 1 million likes on Facebook and hurry up and get to 100,000 in sales and, do all these large feats without doing the groundwork to get there, right? You can say you're going to swim across the ocean, and I can agree with you. It's possible. You can swim across the ocean. I don't have you swimming across the ocean if you've never been in the water and you never swam across a pool.
Right.
If you haven't even done that part, swimming across the ocean is a lot more difficult. And when you're building a business, you're swimming across an ocean. It's hard work, and you need support. And hopefully you got a boat close by just in case you get tired, right? You need some support there. So Natalie, what was your question? Because I kind of went off on a tangent, but that was in my brain.
Well, so my question was, does the amount of money or how long I've been in business, is that a reflection of that? Because when I did my assessment and saw where I was at, the results were surprising to me, we'll say. And so it was really great just to have that clarity, number one, of where I was at. And then number two, what do I need to shift? Because again, almost 2 decades in business, when I did my assessment, I had completely completed the seed stage. So I guess I get to start dropping seeds or duplicating myself, continuing to grow would be the thing. And it's like, that's the 100% the truth when I look at my business and where I'm at right now. And there's been different stages of that along the way. But it was interesting to me to say, okay, well, if I want to have a sustainable business with the intention of, this is the other thing I think about too, with the intentions of selling it down the road, right? Having those things prepared in advance. Well, it's how we start something that makes the difference, right? We don't want to have to go back and put these things into place and hope we did it right and we've made all these mistakes and lost money along the way. If we're doing it right from the beginning, we don't have to do those things. I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day. He's in wealth management, and something he helps people with is sell their businesses. He said it's about a 5-year process because they have to go back and put all these things into place that are exactly what we're talking about on the show. Mm-hmm. And so how do we start these business, how do we do these things right as we go through the pillars, right? And we're able to put these things in place to have a solid foundation. So that was my tangent, I guess. But
well, you're right. And aside from our assessment, Tehran made a good point. Number one, if you want to find out, where to go and find out what life cycle stage you're in, and you may think I've met many business owners who thought they knew, and like Natalie mentioned, to her point, they've been in business for 8 years, 9 years. They're generating $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year. And they think that number or that amount of time in business and the amount of money they generate dictates the life cycle stage of a business. Okay, So first of all, if you're checking us out, please go do an assessment at app.pillar5.com/try. It's absolutely free. It's really simple to do. You simply go on here, plug in your email, start the assessment, and you jump right into the process. And in less than 3 minutes, you'll know exactly where you are in your business. It's kind of like going through the mall and you're trying to go to the bathroom and you're trying to figure out where the bathroom is. Well, and you can keep walking till you figure it out, or you can stop at the directory and go, oh, I see where it is, and go, right? Just depending on how you like to move is going to determine how you move in your business as well. But yes, life cycle stages does not matter. The amount of money you have in your business and how long you've been in your business does not matter, because that doesn't necessarily mean you've done the right steps, right? Life cycle stages are about doing the right steps. And can you jump over a step? Sure, but then it weakens your foundation later, because as you grow, just think about it. You're growing like a Jenga board or playing Jenga. Think about playing Jenga. Just imagine if you grow this tower 20 levels high and you're resting on one little block. You did this one thing in the seed stage, but you didn't do anything else. But I started generating money, so I didn't have to do those things. Oh, really? So now you're balancing on this one block for your support. At some point, that's going to topple over, right? So it's relevant. So it definitely, the amount of money you generate in your business. And I can continue to just give analogies. Again, my brain immediately goes to school. Just think about it. If you have a child, and let's just say you're rich. I'm going to go ahead and give everybody that's watching this show right now, I'm going to say, okay, you're a billionaire. Boom, you're a billionaire.
Yes, I am.
Your child's 6 years old. They've never been to school. That's right, Shannon. Money, money, money. 6 years old. They've never been to school. But because they've been on the earth for 6 years and their parents are wealthy, and let's just say he's got a trust fund for $10 million, that means he could just say, okay, I graduated college. That's it. I got my PhD. Oh, how'd you get your PhD? Well, I got money. Do you trust that person to work on you in surgery?
No
you
way.
think they're qualified? I mean, they got money. They've been around for a little bit. I mean, is that enough? No, absolutely. It's not enough.
Yeah, I just want to just kind of double down what you're saying about the length of time and the amount of money a person makes. Hey, good morning, Mr. Soto. We've often heard that same response from people, like, wait, how can I be in the seed stage because of? And what I typically found myself saying over and over again is, if you don't go into work tomorrow, does your company still do the same thing it's been doing when you go to work? It's like, well, no. It's like, well, this has a lot to do with the stage, having those blocks in place. So what I want to make sure I link together are life cycle stages and sustainability, not success or money or length of time. Life cycle stages are to make sure it's a stable plant, stable tree, stable forest, stable bush, stable garden, stable structure. The Three Little Pigs always helps me explain that. The Three Little Pigs, what was that? A house of hay or
straw.
Straw, wood, and then brick. They all were structures that protected from rain. They all gave shade. They all, were houses. I got a business. Yeah, you do. I got an EIN. Yeah, you do. I've got cash flow. Yeah, you do. So did the straw house. So did the wood house. But there's just a difference when you get to the house that has sustainability to it. So again, those are life cycle stages, and making sure we're working in the right life cycle stages is for a different end than how much money I can make. It's attached to it, but you're not doing it for the purpose of making a certain amount of money or having a certain kind of status. Is to make sure that this thing that you're creating is sustainable and structured correctly.
Absolutely. And to your point, Tehran, just to add some more to that, if you're building, Tehran used the greatest analogies, the Three Little Pigs. I love that analogy because the big bad wolf is coming for you. It's coming for you. There's competitors. There's all kind of stuff aiming for you. They're trying to eat your food.
Yeah.
They're trying to get your food. And if you're not prepared to protect what you're building, then they're going to easily blow your house down and take whatever you have. And you're not going to have one. And 76% of businesses fall in that marker for 10 years. So if your business is less than 10 years old and you're generating less than $250,000, We are directly speaking to you.
That's right.
IBM CEO is not coming on the Better Your Business show going, how do I better my business? He's there. They're done. They're structured. What happens is the small business owner doesn't build their business like they built their business.
That's right.
They think, oh, I'm too small to build that way. I can't build that way. And you jump over these pieces trying to hurry up towards success, and you're missing the pieces that's going to help you really sustain your business and allow it to go through these big bad wolves, whether it be COVID, whether it be economical strife, whether it be cash flow challenges, whether it be market changes, whatever that is, you can withstand that and continue to grow your business. So it's imperative to know where you are. If you're not going through the life cycle stages to grow your business, I'm sorry, you're guessing.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally taking a chance. You're rolling the dice on your business because you don't know where you are and you don't know what to do. And you just think whatever other people are saying makes the most sense in the world. And I'm not saying that we have all the knowledge and we are know-it-all be-alls, because we're not. By no means are we know-it-all be-alls. But go do the research. Don't take our word for it. Go do the research and go figure it out. Because once you realize what stage you're in, you'll realize exactly what you do next. And you don't have to worry about wasting time, stressing out on what information you're gathering and how does it apply to your business. Because I can tell you there's marketers out there that when you say, I want to grow my business, they'll tell you, oh, I can grow your business 10x. And then when you call them and say, I want to get started, the first thing they ask you is, do you already invest $25,000 or more into your marketing campaign monthly? And you're going to go, no. And they're going to go, you're not ready for us. Like they say on Shark Tank, you're too early. You need to go get a foundation underneath you. And that's what they mean. Understand where you are so you can go. You can't get to your destination unless you know where you are, right? If you're in a GPS using your phone, if it can't pick up your signal, it won't give you a direction. So you can guess, or you can turn on your location, figure out where you are, and GPS will be gladly happy to take you where you need to go.
Yeah.
You guys both mentioned the tree as the analogy, as one of the analogies as far as growing. And I think one of the things that I thought about when you said that is that growth doesn't happen overnight, and we've talked about, we're busy, constantly busy doing, but we're not giving the proper time. So is there an average, for business owners? I guess my question would be for business owners that are looking at this saying, okay, I want to get from stage to stage. Is there an average? Is there, we know we've got steps to take. What are they looking at as far as time frame goes?
Well, that's an awesome question. Every business is going to grow at a different rate of speed based on the amount of work that they do. If you find yourself sitting around doing a lot of talking and a lot of wishing and a lot of dreaming and less planning, it's probably going to take you far longer than the person who plans and doesn't do. It's a weird statement. But if you're a doer more than you're a planner and you don't plan your steps, it's going to take you just as long as a person who planned, because you're just running. You're just running at full speed and you don't know where you're going. You're going to run into a wall really fast. And if you don't believe me, again, the stats say Department of Labor says 76% of businesses fail within the first 10 years. I've heard experts say, oh, the death rate or the success rate has increased. Well, the truth is that data doesn't come out to 2022. And according to the Department of Labor, it's went down. So the death rate has been around since 1990. And I know people doesn't like to hear that term, but that's what the Department of Labor calls it. A business's death rate since 1990 has been 76%. You can attribute it to not lack of funding, lack of management skills, bad product, bad marketing. You can attribute all of that. But the reality is, if they knew where they were, they wouldn't make those bad decisions because they would know exactly what to do in order to improve those steps so they don't make bad decisions. Business owners don't get in business to fail. They don't go, I'm going to get a business so I can fail as fast as I can. That is not the analogy that I hear when I talk to motivated entrepreneurs who wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, right? They are like, I'm going to build the next empire. I'm going to do this thing. And unfortunately, like Tehran always says at the beginning of the show, they don't have an instruction manual. They don't have a roadmap. So they're just going off what they know best, with the best with what they have. Well, sometimes the best just isn't good enough. You need help. You need direction. Me trying to drive from here to Wisconsin without a map, My best is not good enough, right? I can get there. I might do 5 times more gas, more expenses. My car might break down along, like all these other things are going to happen. Where if I just said, oh, I'm going to follow my GPS. Oh, how about that? What's the magic in that thing? Oh, right. So if you don't, and I got a question for the audience.
That sounds so boring, Carlton.
if you travel more than 11 hours of driving to a destination you've never been and you don't use a GPS, please comment. Please tell me I don't use a GPS, and I want to know why you don't use a GPS.
You know, I had that conversation. I love the way you're going with that question. Can't wait for them to start chiming in. I like the scenery, all this type of stuff. People justify the decisions, the results of the decisions that they make. We all just tend to do that. You know, and I just wanted to say about taking the right steps at the right time and this difference of the stages and versus the money. I've tended to notice that people take whatever resources they have and try to let that dictate where they're at and what they should do. Well, I got a CRM. I just bought this amount of leads. I got this, that, and the other software for it. I got all of these ads up. So I must be ready to do this next step. It's like, well, you might not be even in that stage. Well, I have to be in a stage because I have the stuff. Kind of like what you're saying about the person that's a doctor who has the money. You can actually have a mailing list and still not be ready to start. You can have so much stuff and not be ready to start, let alone grow, let alone expand, and absolutely let alone mature or do the things or exit, you know, or sell or whatever's going to be succession or whatever the case is. So I think all of us will always do better having a strategy, having an objective perspective on the things that we're doing, no matter what it is, even in your personal life. How many times do you say you're wrong about a decision you make? You don't. You know, you agree with every decision you make. We are our own consultants. Every time we think the world is the way we see it, is the way it's supposed to be. I hear what is that phrase that said, people in society said statement, negative statement. The person saying that statement is society and doesn't realize it. Mm-hmm. So anytime we say, yo, people in America, people over here, people from there, you're that people. It's a people thing, you know. So I like to take. That's why I love Shauna's input, Natalie's, Carlton's, the entire I Do Systems team, because as soon as someone comes in, they're able to give an objective perspective on what's been going on already. So everybody watching right now, no matter how long you've been in business, if you were to go to an expert and just explain to them what you're doing real quick, they're going to give you an objective perspective on what you're doing already. It's going to allow you to reposture yourself and relook at the same picture you've been looking at the whole time or drawing the whole time. Back to my coffee.
So you guys keep talking about steps, taking the right step. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs, I know that's one of the places I struggled. And I know we're coming up on break and Natalie's going to, just kick us off here in just a minute. But I'm curious about that. And I think a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs are the same way, that we want to know what's the next thing that we need to do. And I hear you guys both using that as part of the language here. You know, what's the next step to take and taking steps in the right order. So how do we determine that?
Awesome. And that was a perfect segue for the break, because I'm going to do this right before the break. I'm going to do this right on cue. Go to Pillar 5, app.pillar5/try. Enter your email, and in less than 3 minutes, you will know exactly what life cycle stage you're in. It's like turning on the location beaker on your phone, and you're trying to travel across the country, and it's going to provide you the GPS directions that you need to go. No need to guess it. No need to search YouTube. No need to go off of your own intelligence. This program will do it as coaches and consultants who have seen it, all the way from the director of the SBA or the director of the BBB to all of the other experts in between, who says, yeah, if you know where you are, getting to where you're going is going to be a whole lot easier. Right. Yeah. So go take your assessment. It's absolutely free. Go do it.
We'll be back.
Yes, do it while we're on break. So when we come back, we can talk about it. So take your assessment. No coffee for you. Take your assessment and we'll be right back.
A wise man once asked, what if starting a business was like jumping out of a plane? And like 76% of businesses, what if 76% of parachutes failed before you reached the destination? What about those of you who have already jumped? Well, you may still have time to check your business. Pillar5.com, where businesses get it right. Businesses.
And we are back.
How you doing?
I love that parachute analogy so much. I mean, just think about it as entrepreneurs. If we knew we haven't had a 76% chance of our business failing, would we start with the assessment and do things different? But most people aren't looking at it from that perspective. So a question that I have is, if the average entrepreneur is making $250,000 a year, let's say, right? Is that what it is? It's less.
Less. Yeah.
Why
So
is
86. So let me give you the stat really quick. 86.4% of businesses in the United States of America, and that's of the 32 million businesses in the United States, generate less than $249,999 in gross annual revenue.
Wow.
So that's before EBITDA. That's before you pay yourself. That's before gross revenue. $249,000 less than.
So most people's incomes are probably at poverty level, really, at that point. If you have a business that's, let's just say it even is generating $250,000, by the time you pay your overhead, pay your employees, pay your taxes, your providers, really you're $40,000, $50,000 a year, hopefully.
Well, no. Good. You're being nice. Yeah, they're probably walking away with 10% if they have a good ROI. So that means they're probably generating less than $25,000 a year. In that case, I'm not trying to bust anybody's bubble, go get a job at McDonald's and be a manager. Because they make more money than entrepreneurs do. 86% of the entrepreneurs anyway. So you don't have to be in that boat. You can change that boat by knowing the life cycle stage of your business. If you know, you'll do better. If you don't know, you only can do what you do. You can only do as much as you know.
Right. You know, I want to touch that number again too, the opposite end of that number. So yeah, 86% make less than $250,000 a year and out of business by year 10. But what we did, especially with this life cycle stages and Pillar 5, is we focused on the 14% that make over $250,000 a year and last longer than year 10. And we're focused on those that are thriving. We want to grab their habits, the steps that they've taken, create an algorithm, an easy step-by-step booklet for you to get everything on track, you know? So that's just as important as the 86% that fails. Like, well, what are the 14% that are thriving doing? And let's just do that. Let's just talk about that. When I see people's behaviors that I admire or that I aspire to be like, I just lock those people around. And that's all I will hang out with. I'm not a social butterfly. I'm so selective, man, about social stuff because I'm a listen. And if you're talking noise, I have to listen to that. I have to download. I had a friend. I was actually having a meeting with a friend of mine yesterday. He told me something years ago, and I took a piece of it and actually put it in writing. I changed it a little bit. But he told me, the first person I heard say it, he said, our brains are like computers. Now picture having an icon on your desktop that is a virus. If you click on the icon, it's going to download a virus on your computer. and we spend time downloading data we have no business downloading, because now our processor has to process through our virus the data that we take in. So in that same kind of way, if we take a brand new clean computer or a Mac or a super tower computer, we look at that as the 14% that thrive and strive. There's a lot of noise out there. 84%, 86% of the advice you're going to get is noisy by other people who aren't doing it. I think it was Michelle Tucker who said to us on the show, I only take advice from people who have successfully accomplished that which I'm trying to do. I don't hear nobody else. It's not that I don't like you. It's not that I'm being mean. I can't apply this directly, or I choose not to allow that to be applied directly, because the intentions could be great, but it can affect it negatively.
Absolutely.
How can I still be in the seed stage? How can I still be in the seed stage?
Yes. So I love this. Sorry. That was me, right?
Absolutely you.
And I know he's been in business for a while. So that's exactly what I said. I called Tehran like, what the heck? I love it. Sorry, that's funny. I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny.
Yeah, Jamie, tell us how long you've been in business so we can know that answer. To that point, what I love to do is, and Jamie's laughing with us. I like to break those down so everyone understands the different stages and what do they mean. What's the definition of that stage, right? So that we can walk through those. Oh, and Jamie's response to how long he's been in business.
My whole life. Okay, how can I still be in the seed stage?
Yeah.
That's right.
How can I still be in the seed stage?
Yeah.
Right.
My whole life.
So the seed stage is typically the ideal stage. It's where we come up with the idea of what we want to do. It's really developing that idea out. It's testing the market. And here's the things that most people don't do in that stage. They don't do market research. They don't do the SWOT analysis. They don't figure out the pricing model. They don't figure out what the MVP of their product is. They don't know how much capital it is to get them started. They don't know what credit lines they need in order to grow their business. They don't have a one-page business plan. They haven't reviewed their competitors and the comparisons. I can keep going down a rabbit hole.
All seed stage. Crazy.
All of that is seed stage. In fact, the seed stage has 5 levels. The I Do systems life cycle stages, seed stage has 5 levels to it, because you're going to be in seed stage for a while. There's approximately, I'm just going to throw this out here, I'm going to say 45 to 50 macro high level items that need to be addressed in the seed stage before you even get to the startup stage. What am I saying? What are you saying, Carl? I'm saying if you got an invitation for Shark Tank, you haven't done the seed stage steps, and you haven't built that out 100% sustainable, don't go on a Shark Tank, because you're about to get embarrassed by Mark Cuban. He's going to embarrass you. He's going to tell you, you just have an idea. You're an inventor. Great idea. Kudos. That's not a business. There's no business there. Right? People jump in and they think, oh, I'm going to start a business, and this is what they do. I'm going to break it down for you. They go get an EIN. They register the name with the Secretary of State. They get a legal business called an LLC. Boom, I'm in business. I got a business. I registered my business. I'm new. All I need now is a place to sell it and a shopping cart to collect it, and I'm going to have some money coming in. I'm going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. Well, there's some things to that. There's a whole lot of things to that. There's branding, there's marketing, there's community, there's who's your support team, I don't even want to get started down that rabbit hole. Go to Pillar 5 and go do your assessment, darn it. It's crazy. Like, if you don't know where you are, you can't go forward. It's impossible. It is.
Yeah. But, and you know what, Chief? Check this out. You about to blow. I see the veins starting to pop out. Jim said, how can I be in the seed state? I've been in business my whole life, right? We all know people who get older but may not develop anymore. Again, age not being a part of the life cycle stage you're in. We know 40, I know 30, 40, 50, and 60-year-old people that can have the same exact conversation and behavioral traits as teenagers. They get along very well. Throw the video game on. If you listen from outside, you can't tell how old the people are. I know a lot of younger people who have old souls. If you listen from outside the room, you can't tell how old they are because they're level. So if we're creatures of habit. All of us, sociologically, we're just creatures of habit. Anything you keep doing over and over again, you get better at. If you keep messing up, I used to use a different word when I used to train sales teams. You'll be a perfect mess up. But no matter what you decide to do, if you keep doing it, it's out of your control to not get better at it. So I have to say, if I'm in siege stage, at 15, 16, 17 on my lawnmower, and I immediately skip stuff to get the money, when I become a young adult, if I keep that same behavior, I'm going to get better at missing the steps I need to take. I'm going to get better at paying my bills without building a sustainable business. I'm going to get better at mismanaging the proper way to build a business. I'm going to get better at making it look right, but it's not right. I'm going to become such a perfect. I can build the perfect car that's shiny but it's not going to go nowhere. But I guarantee you, when I pull this car up, they're going to pay $100,000 for it. Well, how? It doesn't work because I've been working on this my whole life. I've been doing this my whole life. So that's why the objective assessment is so valuable, because it gives us an opportunity to take ourselves out, be in our own self-consultation, and let somebody else give us an objective perspective on it. Because again, business owners that are doing the same thing over and over and over for decades and decades doesn't mean you're developing. This means you're probably doing the same thing over, so you're getting better at it. So you could be in the perfect seed stage, 30 years in, So that's why I liken to how is time not relevant to stage, or how is time relevant to stage. Same way people are, you have to proactively try to grow and develop yourself. You have to proactively go outside of your box and circle of influence to grab a new circle of influence with people that you're not familiar with. And that's an internal thing, desire, that starts that. Same thing with business. You got to go outside. I want to be like Warren. When it clicked in my head that the only difference in Warren Buffett and me were decisions that were made, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Say it again for the people in the back.
The only difference from any of us and all of the top Warren Buffett's is what they think about. Think it, say it, do it. We're creatures of habit. So we're perfecting ourselves, And when I realized that, I was like, oh man, I'm just going to be very selective with who I deal with, be very intentional with my decisions. And okay, I get it now. It has nothing to do with the other 86% noise that I'm getting on why that's not going to happen. Man, get out of here, yo. It's not happening for you. But I'm on my way. We on our way, I should say. And we're going to take a bunch of people with us at that. We'll get back to that on another episode coming.
Yeah. Well, and we're not aware of what we're not aware of. So we might not even know that there's a challenge or something that we're missing. It makes me think of Colette's aunt, right? She had her salons, multiple of them for decades. I mean, it was her whole life, her legacy. And she wasn't even registered as a business, I think. And she paid taxes all those years. She had a CPA that she was working with. And there was so much that she didn't get to take advantage of because those things were missed. And she created an amazing business, right. But there was just so many things that she didn't get to take advantage of in that regard. Because again, we don't know what we don't know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It makes me think of children when I see them in a park and they're playing a game of basketball. I don't care who they are. If you listen really closely, every time they take a shot, or every time they dribble the ball, or every time they do something great, the first thing they say is they scream out one of the best basketball players of all time. Oh, Kobe, Michael Jordan, oh, that's that Shaq block, right? Right. They're emulating these people that are at this level. When I hear business owners talk, I don't hear them say, oh, that's a Mark Zuckerberg. Oh, that's a Gary Vee. That's a Mark Cuban. That's a Warren Buffett, right? They're not saying that. So I got to say, well, what are you saying? And like the only answer I can think they will come up with, that's Siri, that's YouTube, that's Facebook. Like, that don't work. Like that don't count because nobody knows them on the ball court. No one knows who that is, right? You're getting information from unknown sources. I don't want us to lose our way because I know we need to go over these stages. But oh my gosh, This is so incredible to have this conversation because I think it's one of the most impactful things that is really holding a business owner back. And I can't say this enough. If you don't know where you are, it is impossible to get where you're going. Impossible. Even in the military, when they drop you in the woods and they throw you a compass, they give you a map. They give you a compass and they mark the spot they want you to go to. Get there. Oh, it's easy. I got a compass. Business owners don't have a compass right now. They don't have an instruction manual. They're just winging it. They're winging it, right? And because sometimes they generate a little money while they're winging it, they think they're successful. I'm doing it. Yeah, but. And so, Jamie, to your point, let me answer your question really quick. Why are you still in the seed stage? If you took an assessment at Pillar 5, app.pillar5/try, if you did that and you found out you're in a seed stage, it doesn't mean you may not be further along in your business. It doesn't mean you may not be in a startup or even the expansion stage or even the growth stage. It just means that there's things in the seed stage that you left undone. The reason Pillar 5 is the heavy, as people like to call it, is because it doesn't allow you to say, oh, I skipped that class when I was in elementary school. It's like, oh, really? Okay, then you need to go back and make sure you get that done. Then you can come back forward. So if you find yourself in the seed stage, it doesn't mean you're going to spend another eternity or lifetime in that stage. It just means if you go back and you get all those things done, then you can progress forward a whole lot faster. The purpose of Pillar 5 is to make sure you don't miss anything. Anything. If you missed it, we're going to send you back just to do that thing, and then you can come back forward. So if you find yourself in Pillar 5 and you go, oh my gosh, I've been in business for 9 years, I make, $300,000 a year. Yeah, okay, you're in the 80, you're in a percentage that's just above the other percentages. The reality, in fact, I've met businesses that are generating $12 million a year, and they've been in business for 15 years, and they're still in the seed stage. And they literally say what Natalie say, what the boop? Why am I in this stage, Carl? And then when we look at it and I go, did you do this? And they go, nope. And then here's the kicker. When they go back and they fix that thing, their business grows. And they go, oh my gosh, I thought I needed marketing. It was like, no, you just needed to go fill in that hole. Yeah. So it can grow. That's all. That's all it was.
So that's about the sustainability, right? I mean, that's what I'm hearing. It's not the success factor. It's the sustainability of it. There are steps that they've missed.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay.
That's right. Success is subjective, right? I always, when Tehran and I talk about it, I laugh. I go, if I was homeless and I was sitting on the street corner and Natalie drove past me and threw a quarter pounder with cheese out the window with no mustard and it landed on my lap, and I haven't eaten for 5 days, success has landed on my lap. I am successful.
Miracle. Yeah.
I'm about to eat. Woo! It's going down, right? But that's not sustainable. I can sit on that corner for the next 3 years and Natalie may never drive by again. In fact, the next time she drives by, she may be screaming, get off the darn corner, you're in the way. I wasn't trying to feed you. I was trying to hit you with it so you can get out of my way, right? But if I want to be sustainable, I need to do something other than that, because insanity is a simple definition. Doing the same things over and over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And business owners can't do that. They don't have the opportunity to do that. It only lasts so long, and then you run out of money. You run out of opportunity. You run out of market. You run out of energy. Your family gets tired of it. They're tired of waiting for all of this. You lose your wife, you lose your husband, you lose your children, you lose everything, right? Because you're committed to doing this thing and you're motivated to doing this thing. You're just not doing it the right way. So just get on track and do it the right way. We've made it easy for you in Pillar 5. But let's talk about startup really quick. I want to say what startup is. So I want to bring that to the audience, and we're gonna have to pick this back up next week. We're not gonna do this today. Never do we get to it. We're still in the seed stage.
Oh man,
we're still in the seed stage. So let me talk a little bit about the seed stage. So the seed stage represents the first steps that you actually take into small business ownership. Now, before you even launch your product or your service, at this particular point in juncture in your process, you don't even have a process. Your business is an idea. That's all it is. It's an idea, a vision in your head. There's no money that you should have put toward it. And if you're putting money toward the developing of your idea in this stage, you're doing it wrong. You're wasting money.
Ooh.
Right? No research should have been conducted yet. You're getting ready to do that. So this is where you are. You're trying to figure out the viability of the business when it comes to, first, potential clients, investors, existing and future markets, and their impact on the sustainability of your company. Remember, this is about your company, not you. Or even the existing financial situation. So that's a lot. This stage is so relevant because the future of your idea depends on the willingness of the business owner to take a step back and consider all of the aforementioned concepts and how they will impact the potential of your future company. If you hear the language I'm saying here, I'm being very articulate. I'm saying your company. I'm not saying you're able to go buy a Corvette. You're able to go buy a new AirPod Pros. You're able to, go buy a bigger house. I'm talking about the company. This stage is relevant because the future of your idea depends on the willingness to step back. That's the one thing a lot of us as business owners don't want to do. We don't want to step back. So here's just a few things you have to ask yourself in this stage. Can you see the idea getting off the ground with a successful launch? Have you tested your business idea with anyone, including potential clients? Do you have the right people around you to steer you in the right direction and ask the questions that you haven't thought of? So let's just go down that gambit. Business associates, friends, family, coaches, experts, industry professionals. Have you talked to them? Are you going to networking events? Are you meeting all of these people? Are you having a conversation about what you're trying to do? Are they telling you what's going on in the industry and you're gathering that data to improve your business model? We know you know how to do what you do, but is it improving the business model? How many restaurants have shut down during COVID? Oh my gosh, we won't even go there. Do you have the necessary capital to cover all the initial expenses until your business is launched? Are you prepared to see this idea through to the fruition despite the ups and downs? That's a lot. And that's just the seed stage, one level of it, right? I talk to business owners and say, where's your board of directors? And they go, I don't need a board of directors. It's just me. Okay. I don't know how many Phoenix Sun fans are on the call, but it takes a team to win a championship. And all it takes is one player on the floor to not do well in a championship round, and you'll lose it all. Yep. When they're on fire, you can't stop them. One player has a bad game, championship's over. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens with your team. If you don't have a team and you're relying on you to play forward, power forward, center, shooting guard, point guard, the whole game, the whole time the clock starts to the end, good luck with that. Someone else is working 10 times harder than you are right now on the same industry, in the same business, the same product, the same service, who's trying to eat your food. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? You can either get on track and get there quick, or you can keep wrestling it the way you want because of ego and pride. And that's just seed stage. We're going to get into startup next week or later, because we have a lot of guests that are coming. So,
right. Yeah, and a perspective, and I don't want to jump off into the wrong time. I am the board. I am the board. It's the same thing when you're doing. I think it's the difference in positioning, mental positioning. You put yourself when you're looking again, like you said, your company, not you. It's just like when people go back and do a one-page business plan. If you talk to a person who hasn't done their one-page business plan, and then they go do a one-page business plan, then have that same conversation with them, you're talking to a totally different person now.
Yep.
They're talking about their own company totally different now. And that one-page business plan, it causes you to limit how much you can think about. You're not going all out to every subject. It's only about who's the problem, what's the solution, what are my metrics, what are my channels. That's the only thing you know when it comes to the thing. If you take that business plan strategy or thought process out of it, you get 86% of the conversations that you get amongst entrepreneurs. Talking about marketing, management, infrastructure, and legals, and they're everywhere. And all of it makes sense, but it's not structured correctly. And again, life cycle stage structures, benchmark steps, structure, sustainability, result of structure. Very different from the hustle bustle That's more common, which causes the death rates of businesses. So we're going to represent the 14%, everybody from now till now on.
So I got a question, Natalie. Do you think that to the question that we're talking about today, are they really important to your business? Do you think a business owner can build their business without having a clue what life cycle stages they're in? I mean, people have done it, obviously, right? They've lucked up and done it. Well, we know the percentage of that, 14%. It's kind of like lottery winners. There's a percentage that win, right? And there's a percentage that keep pouring money in. And without steering you, what do you think on that? What are your thoughts on?
Well,
are they really important?
Same thing. Yeah, you can have a business. Are you going to be able to keep it long term? No. Are you going to cap out financially? Yes. Are you going to burn out? Probably. Right. So these are the things that are going to keep you there long term. Is it going to maybe give you a sense of quote unquote balance when you're not getting that support that you need from friends and family as you're maybe kind of going through your own growing pains through the process. So I think it's extremely important, even thinking about businesses that I've built over the last few decades and what I've done wrong. I can go back to the 5 pillars. I know exactly where I did things wrong and why my business didn't sustain. Right. And now, as what I'm learning through this show and what we're doing, my business now is with the end in mind. And I don't know that anybody, I shouldn't say anybody, I don't think most people look at it that way. We're hoping to just get this thing off the ground and making money. Then we're rolling and we're going with it. And so we're thinking about the day to day, all that stuff. All of a sudden it's, hey, I need to retire, or hey, I can't work anymore. And then we're starting to think about those things. At that point, we're in a different part of the game.
That's
so
right.
Yeah, we can do it, but it's going to be a very, very small percentage, and you will cap out financially, physically, and mentally. I do believe that for sure.
What about you, Shannon? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with it. I did exactly what you talked about before. When I had a business in Oregon, it was trial and error. It was, and that was all I knew. It wasn't about stages. And, I knew that I had to do market research. I went to the SBA. I sat there, found an advisor there. But it was, okay, let me try this. And then let me come back to the table. And now, did that work? Did that not? But I also had a team of people with me as well, where I could just talk to them and say, okay, let's try this. But it was a slow process. It was really trying to understand, because I didn't know my market. I felt like I had a product that I knew people liked. My friends and family liked it. So it's going to make money. But it's not as easy as that. So I think, this time around, and it's a total different industry, but this time around, looking at it, because I did my assessment and I was like, yeah, I am in the seed stage. I totally, I was like, that makes sense to me. But the beautiful thing was I was able to look and say, okay, well, what do I need to do to get out of this? How do I go from that? And seeing those actionable steps. So yeah, knowing where I am is going to help me get to where I'm trying to go. But so if you don't know, I think short answer, yes. It is important to know where you are, because it'll make things a lot easier, because that trial and error, while it may be successful, by my terms, it is not sustainable. It would not have helped me and not grow as fast as I could, because I want to get there. So definitely take the assessment, understand where you are, and then, others around you can help you get to where you're going.
Absolutely. Tehran, what's your take on it? I know you talk to a lot of people about business life cycle stages. What are they saying to you about life cycle stages once they hear you talk?
Well, what I kind of hear immediately most of the time is, well, what does it matter? Basically, the money part. Does it really matter? If I'm making $100,000 a year, if I'm making $200,000 a year, whatever the case is, I'm working on my own time. I'm not punching the clock for anybody else. I set my own schedule. I'm financially free, seemingly, or independent, seemingly. Who cares about your life cycle stages? Why is that really important? And again, it typically tends to turn into a conversation of objectivity. Looking at, let's step outside of this for a second, champ. That's what I'll tell a person or young lady. And look at this same scenario. If something happens to you, does your business continue to still run as it's running optimally? And that one question typically stops them, well, no, because they do stuff all the time. Like, you're not building a sustainable company. Or do you want a sustainable company? This may not be a conversation for you. Sometimes I use that. I'll take it away from people easily because I don't want to spin my wheels. Everybody doesn't want a sustainable company. That's just the truth. Some people like the hustle. You know, I don't want to make $25,000 a year. I just don't want nobody else paying me $25,000 a year. I'm not going to McDonald's, but I'm not trying to stretch how much money I make. So it's just understanding what sustainability is, why life cycle stages are relevant to that. And then it's like continue. So I don't think everybody listening is going to want to take a Pillar 5 assessment. I think everybody should. But I think that when you ask a person, like the list that you were just going down as far as the seed stage things, not most, I have had people say, well, I don't want to do all of that. And in my head, I'm like, well, I don't understand. What do you mean? How could you mean you don't want to do all of that? Well, I didn't know it was going to be that much stuff. Like, well, I don't get it. But then I got to get it. People tell you to show you their colors, just believe them. So just because it makes sense to us doesn't mean it's going to make sense to the masses, if you will. So that number, that 84%, 86%, a large part of that is because they don't have the roadmap. But I'm sure there's still going to be those that's like, I'm okay with this, you know? So
that was my question is it that people don't want it or they don't believe they can really have it? Out of that 84%, I would just wonder.
Yeah, man, it's a epiphany for me. Again, the only difference in me and Warren Buffett and these guys is what I think about. That isn't real to people. It's like, no, you can't. You got to be born with it. You got to be from this type of family. You have to have these type of connections and yada, yada, yada. Some people don't think it's attainable for them, you know, but when you change the way you look at things, Wayne Dyer, I think, said that. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, including your business, including your industry, including your participation in an industry, including your participation in the society. So once you change the way you look at all of this stuff, then all of this stuff starts to change. And now you can start alchemically, manipulating stuff.
Love it.
Copy.
Right. Carlton, how about you? What was yours? I know you're kind of the star of the show today, so you're like the whole thing, take an assessment. Even if it doesn't apply to you, just check it out.
Yeah, I think all of the above. I think people don't realize the importance of knowing where they are. And I think once they find out where they are in the work that they have to do, there's a sense of discouragement. And I think that discouragement comes from they think it's going to slow them down to getting to where they wanted to go. But I've heard 100 times in my life, take 2 steps back to get 3 steps forward. And sometimes you have to pause and understand what you don't know in order to get where you're going. When Tehran and I started building Pillar 5, we both didn't have programming experience. Today, Tehran and I, we don't have programming experience, right? We chose not to do that. But how did we get where we are with the tool that we have with 18,000 hours of programming, right? How do we do that? Well, we took 2 steps back and we realized what we weren't good at, what we couldn't do, and we needed great communication to partner with the people we needed. So we took 2 steps back, got the partner we needed, and we are 10 steps forward. We are so far forward, right? And that's why I think we there's that passion and that fire that just exudes from us, is because we're not just talking about it, we're doing it. Like, we have a superhuman team. Like, the Avengers better watch out, because we're coming for them. You know what I mean? And there is no end game. There ain't no end game. And Thanos ain't gonna snap his finger. We're snapping the fingers around here, people. But my thing is, business owners say that, I don't want to do all that work. To me, they don't want to be business owners.
Right.
That's right.
They don't want to be business owners. They want to be hustlers. They want to make money without working a job, period. That's it. Right. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. If I make the money that I need to make, great. Right? But most entrepreneurs, I don't think in my mind, set out that way. They see toppling problems, building empires, building wealth generation for lives to come, for generations to come. And I see most entrepreneurs in that mindset. So if they're in that mindset, we're definitely there to help them. But if they're in that, I'm just trying to make quick money so I can move on. They got 9 different hustles going on. They do wholesaling, real estate flipping. They do affiliate marketing. They're at every networking event, They got T-shirts in the trunk. They're selling, Amazon books that they don't even own. They got marketing campaigns on YouTube. They're doing all this stuff. And you're like, what are you building? And they're like, I'm just making money. They're not entrepreneurs. They are solopreneurs. Grab that term and keep it moving. I can't help a solopreneur unless they want to become an entrepreneur. They want to be an entrepreneur, go get an assessment, figure out where you are. There's a GPS map. It never existed. It exists today.
Love it.
All right. Awesome. Well, you heard it from us here today. Go to pillar5.com/try. Take your business assessment. Thank you, everyone who's joined us today. Thank you to the Los Angeles Tribune, Roku TV. We're grateful for you. You can jump on tonight and see the LA Tribune live on their Monday Night Madness. We will see you next Monday, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. time. Remember, hey, do something today to better your business. And I'm going to challenge you that today what you're going to do is take your business assessment, see where you're at, and see where you want to shift. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye.